Hey guys, welcome back to the Anime Collector. Right now we're about to head to the Flowers of Youth premiere, and Augie ran into the exhibit hall, and since this is his first AX, he has no idea where the line is, so I just called him to run out here. But we're gonna go catch this premiere, and we'll see you once it's over.
There he is.
It's a good thing we've got that pass. All right, let's go. Dude. Yeah. Okay. So, first of all, I think I said that the title of the premiere was Flowers of Youth, but it's actually Flavors of Youth. It was 3 separate shorts, Flavors of Youth. The first one was about like a noodle shop and a guy having fond memories of growing up eating these noodles, especially eating them with his grandma, and then being an adult and sort of looking back on things. The second one was about a fashion model who was basically anorexic. So it's like, I don't know what her flavor was. It was like stomach acid probably, but the point is, in that one, she was like fainting and barely able to perform, and for some reason, I hit like a really sharp dip in energy during the first 2. So I'm going to let them do most of the talking on those. I'm having a little calorie pickup right now. The third one, did the third one seem longer to you guys?
Yes.
It seemed like that was like the main one. I'm just going to say right now, obviously, spoilers and all that stuff, but if you check it out and you're not really feeling the first one, stick it out to the third one, because the third one is actually really good. So, anyway. What do you guys have to say about the first one?
There's one minor detail. The first one that you didn't address, and that was in the middle where second noodle shop happened. The husband changed it to be a convenience store, then the son gets stabbed, and they come back and make it a noodle shop.
Okay. Well, we're probably going to need to explain all that.
No, I know that.
So people know, but
to me, the first one, it's written very correctly. However, with it being in the third person, told by the third person, it felt very forced.
Okay, so like I said, it's a series of shorts. They were about 25 minutes each, except for maybe the last one being a little bit longer.
It felt like the first one was the 25 minutes, but it felt like an hour.
Yeah, it felt like it took forever. So, but except for the part, there's a part in it. As an adult, he goes back to see his grandma, and she's like on her deathbed, and she says, "I'm sorry, I won't be able to eat noodles with you again." And he says, "Oh, don't say that, Grandma. You'll be eating them again with me in no time." And then literally, hand opens up, she's dead, right? Like, it's like that scene in Black Dynamite. I forget what the exact phrase is, but it's like, "I've only got 2 days to retirement," and then literally right after that, the guy dies. I think Black Dynamite says like, "Who saw that coming?" Yeah.
I mean, who saw where that came from?
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so it was, and there was, oh god, there's another great part where, for some reason, so this character that likes to eat the noodles, he recognizes that one of the main reasons why he enjoys eating at this noodle shop is actually because he gets to watch this girl that he likes ride her bike by. And it was really funny because at the end of the thing, he realizes like the memory is not the same because the noodle shop had changed, as Augie sort of said, throwing out the thing about the guy. Did he get stabbed? Why was he stabbed in the leg?
It doesn't explain what I assume
he
is
was
because
injured.
they removed the noodle shop. That might have had something to do with it.
Yeah, but he was injured. Did they ever say he was stabbed?
It was implied that he was
You
stabbed.
saw a knife.
Oh, there wasn't.
Saw the knife.
One of the kids, when he was running away, he threw a knife.
Oh,
like
okay.
3
See,
different kids
again,
running
like
away.
I said, blood sugar tanked at that point, so I was not able to focus on everything as clearly as they were. But anyway, so, but the funny thing is that when he goes back to it as an adult, he sort of notices that things aren't the same, and then this other girl, who's not the same girl, goes by, and he does like this smile, and I'm thinking like that scene in Family Guy, high school girls, I keep getting older, and they stay the same age.
Yeah.
That's basically what it felt like. So that was the first one. Again, it was just like, a lot of so this wasn't Shinkai, but it was from people involved with Your Name, and it was from Comics Wave and joint venture with Netflix as the Netflix anime thing. It felt very much like that kind of stuff, where it's like, it's sentimental and just like they did the stuff, but it felt really forced and rushed for the first one.
The whole thing was just generic slice of life.
Yeah.
Really. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, Dan actually liked the first one the best.
I mean, looking back on it, I would say honestly the third one was the best, but I had probably more emotional connection to the first one, if that makes sense.
So,
For me, for the first one, like I said, it's written very good. It lays ground for what's to come, but it's one of those, it's done so well, it fails in my opinion, because you know what to expect.
Okay, so you're saying it was predictable?
Yes.
Okay, so...
I mean, I think all three of them were predictable.
Yes.
Didn't they call every single...
Yeah, it was obvious, and it was very tropey. So the second one, as soon as this other character shows up, Dan's like, oh, he's going to leave her for her.
Oh, yeah, the first one, to me, it felt like it was choppy, like how it was edited. Like, the noodle shop was going to leave, how they cut from young grandmother, the noodle shop leaving, it felt like they took the grandmother with her, because for some reason, the wife of the first one's in the back like the Beverly Hillbillies moving.
Sure,
and another thing, I don't know how important it is that even though it's is it even a Japanese made? I mean, they were speaking Japanese.
They were speaking Japanese. Yeah, I was going to get to that. It takes place in China.
Yeah.
For some reason, all the characters have Chinese names, which I hate that, because their names are like Japanese names are a lot more diverse and easier to differentiate. Chinese names is like everybody's name is XI. or something, you know, and it's just like I'm sorry, but it's really hard for me to when it comes to the Chinese, I have to watch things dubbed if the characters have a Chinese name, because for me I just can't follow it. I cannot follow it at all. This was not dubbed, by the way. The screening, maybe it will be on Netflix, but for the screening it was in Japanese. So it was actually really hard for me to follow it for a lot of it.
No, that makes me wonder, like, why did they have it set? Were they trying to appeal to the Chinese market? Was it a Chinese company that helped fund it?
I don't know. They just chose to do the story in China. The first one was about Chinese noodles. Flavors of Youth felt really appropriate for the first one. Then the second one, like I said, I'm like, what's the flavor? Stomach acid? Because she's not even eating anything. Like, everybody else is like, ooh, I love cake, and I'm not a model, so I can eat it, kind of thing around her. And then the third one's like, did they even eat?
It
was just kind of, a weird thing. You know, it's kind of a weird thing.
I like the second one more than the first because you have the characters interact with each other. You can see people doing stuff instead of in the third person monologuing. Yes, it's not for us because we're not fashion models. This is more geared towards the female domain than the male domain. It did have some funny parts with her manager, the sister throughout. There's a lot of bitch sassing in this one because the model being replaced with a youthful one.
And usually they use, from and not just in anime, but like usually the old model getting eclipsed by the new model is usually the standard go-to, like, not like fallen from grace, but like, you know, your time is over.
That trope is the
star is dimming.
It is so overused in anime, but the difference here, the subversion of expectation, let's say, is that at the end, all of her friends and her sister put on a thing to get her back into it. Like, you're not out. Here's a fashion show at the end, and then end credits. You know, or like it's not even end credits, like mid credit of that thing, and then move on to the third short. So
well, it was her manager. It just didn't magically happen. Her manager pulled strings and called in favors.
That's what I'm saying, is that was the subversion of expectation, because we've seen the trope constantly. Usually it's not the main character who's the one bitching out about the fact that they're past their prime. It's usually another character who's giving a hard time to the main character. But I'm just saying, we see this trope all the time. Yeah. So this time it was like, because the main character was the one who was you know, going past her prime and everything, they subverted it where it's like she's getting a second chance, and it's just like, but in reality, how far is she going to be able to go?
I think it was,
because she was still pretty youthful.
Well, yeah, I think it was just, well, I mean, it was like maybe like a late 20s, early 30s something up against like an 18-year-old. Like, no.
To me, for the second one, I really appreciated the character development, because you see her innocent to kind of focused and trying to be at the top and remain at the top. Mm-hmm. The downfall, then, like you said, the cheer at the end.
Yeah. So the third one, it's a whole different like approach to the whole thing they were doing. It basically revolved around a cassette tape, and these three friends who would record messages to each other, and they would have conversations back and forth, swapping
Like the audio pen pal.
Exactly. So anyway, and then it basically, long story short, the story is that there's two guys and a girl. You know, the typical sort of childhood friend dynamic that evolves into, you could say, a love triangle. But there's the one guy who likes the girl, but he's not serious about it, and the other one who actually does like her. And basically what it all boils down to is that she's being pressured by her parents to go to this prestigious high school because of her grades, that she'll be able to get into this high school, right? And he decides, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to try to get into this high school. I'm going to work my butt off. I'm not going to relax, and I'm just going to study, and I'm going to get my grades up, and I'm going to get in, right? And Dan saw this coming from a mile away. He's like, she's not going to get in, but he is, right? And
I can't prove this to you because I didn't say this to you, but I knew she failed on purpose.
see that
I knew she
that was
failed
kind
on
of revealed
purpose.
later on.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, like, I saw that coming too.
Yeah.
It was going
so
to be
it
like...
was a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing where it's like you think the person has died, so you kill yourself, and then that person comes out of the thing, and then they kill themselves because you killed yourself. It's like one of those things. It's like a missed opportunity. So I want to.
It's basically
Like
misunderstanding
5
the...
meters per second, sort of.
Right, exactly, and it was very much in that sort of Shinkai style. Again, Shinkai I don't think was even attached to this, but let me just say that the moral of this story, and I cannot stress this enough as relationship advice, is communicate with people.
Yeah.
Okay? I cannot tell you how much heartache you will save by just talking to the person you're in a relationship with. Share your thoughts, even if you're embarrassed, even if you think it's going to cause a fight. Share them. Do not keep them in, because this is like a Hollywoodized, or like, let's say a make-believe fantasy version, sort of the worst case scenario, or not even the worst case scenario, but you know what I mean. But I'm just saying, like, it will save you so much heartache. Just talk to each other.
So you're
okay?
saying don't ask what if, right?
No, we were talking about the fact that this was like kind of a reverse version of Dan was feeling while watching it the way I was feeling when we were watching fireworks. And then he turns to me and he's like, I bet that guy wishes he had that spinning orb thing.
the wish. Yeah, wish.
Anyway, so...
it was like... Yeah, and this happens all the time in real life. And I guess because it did a good job showing that. Of course... Then, in the end, you're like, oh, that would never happen. Like, it gave the stock standard Disney ending, and you're like,
here's the thing that,
okay.
that I was expecting to or something I would say I wanted to have happen, but didn't. So, there's a part in the story where she can't go to school, so she asks the guy to record the lesson for her, because they're always playing around with the tape deck or whatever, like the tape recorder, and she asks him, say something funny on it, I'll listen to it 100 times or whatever, right? And I thought that he was going to just say, I love you, like I want to be with you on the tape, and that was going to be the message to her. He didn't do that, okay? And then later on, the thing starts, it's not in chronological order. He finds the tape, and he starts running to go back to his grandmother's house in like the city in order to, it's China. It's kind of a weird situation. I'm not going to get into it, but in order to get his old tape player so he can listen to the tape, because it's modern day. It's like nobody has tape players anymore. Like he wouldn't be able to get it, right? So, so they sort of frame it in that way. And then when he finally gets to listen to the tape, I was expecting that she was going to have said, I love you in the thing, like they were going to confess the feeling kind of thing. And what we learn instead is that because her father was the one pressuring her to go to this school, she sabotaged it because she decided she wanted to live her own life and go to the school he was going to. And because he never listened to it all those years, it's like it had just passed him by and he wasn't able to do it, that he missed out on the opportunity that even though he got in that school, he could have still gone to the school with her. Now, on his for his future and everything, it was better. It sucks.
I mean, it all works out in the end, which is what I would call the most unrealistic point of that whole...
But it does have sort of a happy ending. And then when we first got into the thing, and the guy came up, the I forget what his title was, but he worked for the Netflix Japan thing for the anime stuff. He mentioned that there was a Easter egg at the end of the credits, and the Easter egg literally just ties the 3 shorts you saw together in a way that is completely unsatisfying.
Well, I mean, by
Like, for
tying...
some reason, all of them are on a plane now.
Yeah,
I think it was just they kind of like intersected with the 3 groups, I guess you would call
they
it.
just all happen to be at an airport terminal.
Airport, yeah.
And it's really funny because
it's not like they even know each other exist.
Yeah.
It just happens to be they all pass each other.
Before Your Name, pretty much everything Shinkai did had a very bittersweet ending. And I was wondering, again, it's not Shinkai, but it's just the comics wave and all that stuff. I was thinking it would be really funny if they all get on the plane. The plane turns out to be the Malaysian flight that they can't find. It crashes or gets shot down or something. I thought that, I'm like, oh, there's the bittersweet ending. They all died together.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you guys have more you want to say?
Well, I mean, maybe, because it showed the plane, and then it fades to black, and so it's like, oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, well, in the third one, they did the whole packing like the Beverly Hillbillies again. For some reason, everyone just sits in the back of the truck.
That could be a Chinese thing.
That could be. This felt like a movie, but did they announce that if this was going to be a series for them?
I think it was just a movie, I think.
I hope not. I don't want to sit through more of this. I mean, look.
I mean, what would it be if it was a series?
Well, I'm just saying that they rushed through everything, and they covered everything. I don't want to see these characters again, is what I mean. Like, if they're going to continue to do more of these little short 3, short things, okay, whatever. But it's just, I feel like I'm going to be sitting through the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is kind of what I'm doing with most of Shinkai's work anyway. And again, Shinkai's not attached to this, so far as I know. I'm just saying. You guys have anything else you want to say?
Like I said before, first one, thumb down. Second one, thumbs up. Third one, thumbs up.
Okay. And I'll just reiterate my point that if you don't like the first one, try to stick it out because the third one's good, or just skip to the third one. And don't worry about the fact that they all show up at the Easter egg thing because it won't matter to you.
I would just say if you like Slice of Life, you're gonna like it. Like, especially Slice of Life
in the Shinkai
positive,
style.
Especially positive Slice of Life, you'll like it.
It's weird,
but it's generic too.
It's kind of like at least with the third one, it's kind of bittersweet, but the bitterness is towards the middle instead of right at the end. So it ends up more sweet than bittersweet.
Yeah, they all had pretty good happy end, and then the overall thing all kind of had a. I mean, I guess the first guy.
The first one's happy ending was literally that high school girls, they stay the same. That was the happy ending. It was really weird.
I mean, yeah, I guess the first, but I guess the guy realized he was satisfied with life.
Yeah, he realized he's like, well, I lost the girl I liked, but damn,
I don't really.
I noticed in the first one that every time that they showed it, like the first couple would have onions in it, but the last one had peppers in it, as if onions are the worst thing in life.
All right. Yeah, he turned to me to say that the moral of the story here is don't get your ramen with onions, and I'm like, all right, Aggie. I think we're done. You guys done?
Yeah, I think.
All right, we're gonna try to get into Liz and the Bluebird. I think somebody might be pulling some strings for us. I got some messages while we were doing this recording, so hopefully we'll have that in store for you guys on the channel. See you
Please
then.
like, subscribe,
and watch the OCA podcast.